Hello everyone, welcome to the Africa Bazaar magazine special. We are live at the Aim for Climate Summit that's taking place in Washington this week in Washington D.C. I am Kemi Oshukoya, the founder and editor-in-chief of the Africa Bazaar magazine. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in, and ladies for tuning in to our YouTube channel, and also for subscribing and signing up for our newsletter. And if you haven't done so, just click right on that link and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. What a critical time to have this summit in the capital of the world, in Washington D.C. As we know, U.S. is known as a world leader. So to have a gathering of leaders from the public and private sector, from the government, from NGO and businesses gather here today, the past 3 days at this summit is really critical to address issues relating to climate change. So we have a great line of interviews, stories and ideas about the latest innovations, the creators, as well as policies that governments are putting in place to address food security, address agriculture and climate change, as well as climate adaptation. So we've been here since Monday. The summit started on May 8th, and today is Wednesday. We've been here since Monday, talking to people, talking to leaders that are participating in this event, in this summit. So from the US, from Africa to the US, we have leaders from the African Union, the African Union Commissioner for Agriculture. We have the chief scientist from the Food and Agricultural Organization. We have business leaders from Africa, Sustainable African Foods, that we have talked to, and other people, exhibitors, the innovators that are coming up with new approach and latest innovations and regarding food security, regarding plants, regarding new grains. So we, as I said, we have a great lineup of interviews for you. So why don't we just get right into it? These interviews are unscripted. So as you know, things happen when you are doing live interviews. You hear noise in the background. So we did our best to try to make everything lively for you. But our goal is for you that at the end of each interview, that you go away with more information, that we improve your life, that we improve your business, that we also inspire you to do something about addressing issues of climate change and food security all in our life. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you haven't subscribed, click on that link and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also sign up for a newsletter, and you can check us at the africabazaar.com. Thank you so much. I am Kemi Oshukoya. I hope you join us, and please do share this interview with your friends and colleagues. Thank you. Madam Commissioner, thank you so much for joining me to talking to us. We are the Aim for Climate Summit in Washington D.C. and you've traveled from Africa. You represent the African Union. Talk to me, and you've been meeting with several government leaders, including the Secretary of Agriculture for the U.S. Talk to me, tell us what you've been hearing and what the meeting that you've been meeting with this leader, what has taken place.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you the type of conversation we've been having with the authority of the U.S. authorities. To me, I will first of all commend the Biden administration for bringing back the climate agenda within his priority during his tenure. So this is really very encouraging because the U.S. is a big partner, and plays an important role in the agenda, in the climate agenda. So it's good that all of us should all be together. All of us should work together because this is the planet we're talking about. It concerns everybody. There is no victim. There's no victim. There's no who to blame. It's just a pattern of life that we choose, that we are really destroying our planet. So we should put things into order, preserve our planet, preserve our forests, preserve our oceans. Those are all the ecosystem that we've been talking all along. We usually participate in the COPs series each year, and we come out with what is the African common position. So in terms of my continent, we are well organized because the African group of negotiators in each thematic. We have it in biodiversity, we have it in the wildlife, we have it in forest, we have it in the land degradation, and we have it in climate change as well, even the ocean. So it's a very important agenda because it's not fair for us that we had our heritage of this planet, of the land was okay, and leaving our own children, our own siblings, suffering because of climate change, because of the impact of climate change, because you cannot develop what you have. Africa is endowed with natural resources, the potential, but due to the warming of the planet, we need to be careful. And I think this is a very good opportunity for us to share lessons, because the Western countries, they started, industrialize, and they did not take into account certain parameters to preserve. So, but now with their experience, we in Africa, we should not repeat it. So this type of conversation, this type of platform, to us is very important. So in terms of my bilateral meeting, because this is a huge meeting, we have people from all over the place, all over the regions. We have Latin Americans, we have Asians. The ministers are all here. The I segment and the meeting is really going on very well because we are really talking about the core issues that we should solve, because we are leaders. And it is our duty to really solve the problem of climate change, and it has to be in a collaborative approach. That is very important. So the bilateral I had with the Secretary of Agriculture is very good because we've been having collaboration with the USAID and the USDA. We have a lot of programs that are in place, and yesterday I had a bilateral meeting with His Excellency the Secretary of State for Agriculture, and we were able to identify some areas of to strengthen our collaboration. As you know that we have the 10 years action plan of our flagship program, which is CADEP Malabo, the flagship program to transform agriculture, and this is the time for us to revisit what went good, what went wrong. And with the two recent shocks that we had globally, which is the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, and also the conflict, Russia and the Ukrainian conflict, it's very important for us to really change the narrative for agriculture. We know that this continent has a lot of potential to feed Africa and to feed the world. So let us unleash this potential so that we in Africa will come out from the bad records. Because when you look at all these reports from the World Bank, from FAO, Africa is always connected with extreme hunger, acute hunger, and the statistics are not very favorable to us. So I think with this experience, when we are going to elaborate our post-Malabo action plan, 10 years, we will take into account all these issues of resilience, soil health, the access to fertilizer, what type of fertilizer, mapping our lands. So I think that we will focus more on that. And we have an advantage to have the IFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and that's an area also we talked about it with Secretary of State of Agriculture in terms of the standards and regulations. Because when you want to trade, there are mechanism that you have to put in place so that you can have a quality product and a competitive product that you put in the market for trading.
Oh, thank you so much for that in-depth information that you provided. So I wanted to ask you also, how are you supporting the farmers in Africa, for example? As you know, droughts, flood, and they have, most farmers are smallholders farmers that have limited resources. You talk about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. To be able to participate in all of those programs that the continent is rolling out, how are you guaranteeing the agricultural sectors and the fruit processing sectors and bringing in the private sectors also?
What we do as an organization, the African Union is the intergovernmental organization, and our mandate is to elaborate strategies and policies and transform this strategy and policy into programs and projects. This is our mandate. We are not a financial institution. We have our financial institution like ADB.
Yeah, the African Development
Bank, and we work together.
Okay.
We work together. So when our head of state approve one of our strategy, and we start engaging ourselves with the member state in terms of my focal points in Africa, being a commissioner for agriculture, rural development, blue economy, and sustainable environment. I engage myself in that tool or that diploma that comes out, and engage myself to align with their national development program or their national investment program, because each country has its own plan. But we want to align the continental policy, the regional policy, and the country policy at the country level. So it is from the country level that they have the responsibility with this tool to really make sure that they give access to finance, access to all the agricultural input, technology. So what we do, we monitor. We monitor because we have our biannual review report, and every 2 years we work with our member state, we work with the regs to monitor how are they implementing the Malabo Declaration. And all these programs, projects, this thing, with partners, we also mobilize resources. Like just now, we have a very good project on to build resilience in our food system. In 2021, we had the Food System Summit that was called by the Secretary General of the UN, and then the African continent is the only region that presented a common position with 43 game-changing, so that we can really transform. So we are working, but it takes also the government, to look at it as priority and investment. One of the constraints, one of the challenge we are facing is really lack of investment, to implement all these projects and programs. So, but we are trying to mobilize, like I was saying, we have this issue of the Horn of Africa. And the Horn of Africa is the area, the region of our continent that is more affected with hunger and malnutrition. So we are engaged with the World Bank. The World Bank has given us, $2.3 billion to address this issue, because those are consequences. You ask me the consequences of drought, and some countries consequences of flood,
like
and
Malawi,
heat
for
waves,
example.
all this. So this program is to really create resilience and address this issue. We also, this same amount is going to benefit also the southern region, because if you look at countries from Angola, Namibia, South Africa, we have water stress due to the drought. So those are the programs that we mobilize, and we believe that in 4-5 years there will be a change, if we implement this project properly, and if our government really take it seriously, because today they will not say they don't have money. The investment is there. It's just a matter of seeing, identifying who are the farmers, because we in African Union, during my tenure, I support more the small-scale farmers, because that is where the majority of our population are, and they are the ones that produce the food that we eat. So we need to really, first of all, empower the farmers, mostly women, because 60% of the production that we have and the labor in the farm are women. So I have a program that I've been working with women, and every 15th of October we celebrate during the International Rural Women Day. We have a theme, and we are trying to build capacity on the whole ecosystem of agriculture. That is crops, livestock, and fishery. All of it we are working with women association in order to empower them and unleash, drop all this dodgery, mostly on the farm, and bring mechanization, bring irrigation. Those are the programs we are doing.
Okay, thank you so much. So my last question to you is, as a woman, you are one of the few women in leadership position on the African continent. What is your message to young Africans that are looking at you as a mentor, as an example? What lessons have you learned in this journey, and what is your message to them?
My message is that women should the education is the key to success. So I encourage all the women to really, take their education career very seriously, because I got where I got not by favor, but by merit. Because if I didn't have this qualification, I would never ascend this type of job. So once you are well qualified, you have skills, they should not be afraid. They should compete with our fellow men. And now, gender balance, we did a lot of advocacy to include gender, but we want merit, not mediocrity. We want really women that have merit, that are qualified, and if there is a vacant post, they should apply according to their profile. That's what I tell my daughters, my niece, not to run, not to rush. Time is there, they're young, let them do their career. When they become mature, they can, take the post that we are taking. I started as just a kid. I started as chief of, then I went head of division, head of department, director, PS, and then the Secretary General. Today I am the Commissioner of African Union.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we truly, truly appreciate this and all the work that you're doing to promote food security on the African continent. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
You find our email.
So, you are one of the exhibitors at this summit, at the Aim for Climate Summit that's taking place in D.C. Talk to me, what is AgriPoint?
Yes, hi. So my name is James Kotecki, and I'm the Vice President of External Affairs at AgriPoint. And AgriPoint is a software company that measures and analyzes trees, crops, plants, fields, forests. And we believe that to fight climate change, to increase food security, to increase sustainability and biodiversity, it all starts with good data. And there's many different ways to get data, from satellites and drones to soil samples, but we are a piece of that data ecosystem because we allow you to scan plants and trees with the phone. This is an iPhone, and we can use the sensors right here on the iPhone to capture visual data about these plants and then create three-dimensional digital twins of the plant, and then from there we can use that data for different use cases in agriculture and climate, like disease detection, like yield prediction, things like measuring the size of a tree so that you can understand how much carbon that tree is actually keeping in the ground, which you can do by calculating the size of the tree. We are a better tool in many situations. What we are augmenting is human labor in the field with sometimes nothing more than a tape measure and a notebook. And so we have a much better digital tool for that with the mobile device, and that's what we're demonstrating here today.
Okay. So before, does it work with? Is it just with iPhone, or does it work with any phone?
Currently, we're on some of the latest generation iPhones and iPads, but soon we're going to be able to open this up to many more devices. There's a certain sensor in this iPhone for LiDAR, and that's one of the ways that kind of depth sensing is one of the ways that we're able to capture and create 3D models. But we are currently testing and very close to being able to put out other ways of capturing that will not necessarily require your phone to have LiDAR, and then we're going to be able to open it up to other systems.
Okay, this is one of the innovative technology that has been shown here. So while you demonstrate this to us, I believe you also work with African partners.
We do, and in fact, I don't know if it's going to come up in this video clip here. Some of the video that's playing behind me is video that we captured in Kenya, actually in Embu, which is about a couple of hours outside of Nairobi, where we were in the field with smallholder farmers demonstrating our technology. What was happening in the field were measurements of trees that were being conducted and analyzed by hand, manually, with tape measures over long days in order to validate satellite models of what was happening on those farms. All of that was being done to calculate the biomass on the farm as far as carbon credits. But what we were able to do is demonstrate a better way to do that with the phone, measuring not with tape measures, but with digital scans.
Okay, show us how this works.
Sure. So I don't know if you can see the screen here. This is an app on the phone. You can see that it looks very similar to the camera app on the phone. But when I press this green button here, you see there's a white mesh that starts to come over the plant, and there's red dots. And the idea is that I'm going to walk around this plant, and I'm going to make the red dots go away and the white mesh to appear. So everywhere that there's white mesh is actually being captured by the phone. And I'm going to do a 360 walk around this plant. Now I'm walking around an individual plant here, but the thing to remember is I could be doing this in a forestry subplot or along a long row of crops. It doesn't have to be, and it often isn't just one individual plant. Of course, we're just in a conference room, so we're able to demonstrate one individual plant here today. So I've captured everything that I want to capture here. I'm going to press stop. I can save it, and in just a moment there's going to be a model that pops up, and there is, I'm going to create a 3D draft on the phone. Now what we do is we can see on the phone the basics of what we captured, simply to validate that we got something good and that we have something there. And then from there we're able to send it to the cloud. And in the cloud, on a cloud analytics platform that we also have, we are able to do all the analysis on it, all the metrics on it, whatever situation that you have used AgriPoint for, whether that's disease detection or measurement or species identification or yield prediction or whatever it might be, that all takes place in the cloud. But here on the phone, you're able to see, I like this rainbow example. So you see we've captured something here on the phone, and there's the plant as it exists. And I'm sorry about the tape in the background. It sounds like something's being ripped up. But there's the plant on the phone there.
3D.
This is a 3D model of this, and in the so this is a 3D model, and it looks okay. But I guess you'd have to take my word for it that when it's up in the cloud, it looks amazing. Now I'm going to actually, I don't know if you're going to want to cut this or what, but I can actually pull up another model here. This is something that we made previously. I'm just going to go to our website, and people can go to agripoint.com and see all this there.
Why you look that up?
Yeah.
I mean, usually new technology like this are very, very expensive.
Yes.
For the average farmer in rural community to be able to afford. So talk to me about that aspect.
The whole idea behind doing it on mobile devices is to democratize the process of capturing data and make it easier for anyone to be able to capture this data and use it. Right now, the alternatives are, as I said, there's somebody whipping something right behind this.
We are right in the middle of everything.
Yes.
So yeah.
Right now, the alternatives are you can capture it manually in the field, or there are expensive and maybe clunky, bulky sensors that may frankly just be inaccessible to many folks, as you said, in rural Kenya and other parts of the world. The difference is it's a phone that you may already have or that you can already justify the purchase of because it has so many other benefits. So when we take this and we're able to democratize it, and again, as we move through other Apple devices and beyond, and we're able to put this in the pockets and in the hands of so many more people to make it easy to use, to make it just like a video app to be able to use it. That's another very important component as well. So the idea is that when you might previously have needed an expert pair of eyeballs, a trained set of eyeballs in the field, and that was the only way that you were ever going to be able to get that data. Now, you don't even need the expert to be in the field anymore. You can send people out who are trained how to use the app, and they can be able to take that data, send it to the cloud, and the expert can analyze it from wherever they are.
Okay. You are also partnering with governments, I believe.
Yes.
Or are you just working within the private sector?
We are partnering and talking with and having a lot of productive conversations with so many people here at Aim for Climate. Aim for Climate is a great representation, actually, of the different kinds of partnerships that we have. So we have conversations with governments, conversations with business partners, agribusiness, growers, researchers, forestry folks, folks who want to talk about satellite data and how we can use our mobile devices to help validate that. It's all coming together for us, and again, this event is really a representation of the breadth of the different kinds of conversations that we can be in at AgriPoint.
And speaking of climate adaptation and climate solution, this is a very, very good product to be able to, I mean, one of the solutions to issues affecting drought, flood in Africa, for example.
Yeah, and we see it all across the spectrum from you can use it as a research, you can use this app as part of your research. So if you're in the field trying to research a better crop for drought resistance, then you would be able to use the phone to capture the data that would feed into those research studies, as opposed to, again, simply walking through the field and taking notes on a notebook, for hours at a time. And you could also be capturing data in the field. You can be capturing early warning signs of drought so that you as a farmer might be able to take actions to mitigate some of the effects of that drought, before they get too significant. If it's a small sign of drought that a person who's walking through the field might miss, we can train our machine learning systems to find those with more efficiency and to capture that data with more efficiency because you're doing it with a scan on the phone as opposed to a walk through the field completely manually. So
okay.
yes.
Yeah, show us
Let me see if I've got this
have.
here. Okay, so this is pulling up.
Is loading. Why that load? I'm also going
here.
to ask you, you're working in Kenya where a lot of innovative technology has been developed by African and for Africans. Are you working with some of those innovators from Africa?
I don't know, and there's a good reason that I don't know, and it's because we have so many different conversations. I actually don't know all the different ones we have, so it's very plausible. I can't pinpoint one specifically, but we plan to be in Africa. We're in Asia, we're in South America, we're all over the place. Right now, a lot of the conversations that we have are at the larger company level, but we are going to be able to make this again democratized and accessible to everyone as we go forward. And in fact, anyone who has a device like this can download it right now.
Okay.
So if you have a late model iPhone or iPad, you can go to the App Store, you can look up AgriPoint Capture, and you have to have an account to send data to the cloud. But anyone can capture data. Anyone can create the 3D model that I was showing. You can go in your backyard, go to a tree, pick your favorite plant in your house, and create three-dimensional models.
Okay.
So yes, in a sense, we are working with everyone because we want to make it accessible. And here, let me show you this. This is an example of a three-dimensional model of a forest. And what we've done is we've taken what was a regular image of a forest with green trees and brown trunks, and we've done machine learning on it. And we've done machine learning to say two things. Number one, highlight the trunks. All we care about are tree trunks, trunks above a certain size. And those you can see here are highlighted in red. And number two, note the diameter at breast height. And the diameter at breast height is the measurement of the tree that you need to have in order to calculate a standard for the amount of carbon that tree is sequestering. So you can see this is really a 3D model. Like I'm zooming through this, all these different points here in the model. are showing you that this is actually something you can zoom around and manipulate. So this is not a picture, this is not a video, this is a three-dimensional model that we've created to get the most robust data from these visual sensors that we have on the phone and to make it accessible for everybody to use for their use cases.
Thank you so much for talking to us and showing us that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
These are some of the exhibitors at the Aim for Climate Summit. You have the IBM Sustainability Accelerator, and next to it, you have FAIR, Protein to Future, a Pathway to Net Zero. I've talked to some of we also have carbon asset solution. I've talked to some of these exhibitors, as you will see in the interviews accompany the video. A lot of innovative solutions. Agriculture elevated aero farm that is also producing a lot of food, addressing food insecurity. Okay, so I just have a taste of one of these amazing entries that you have here. And I'm very, very picky when it comes to my food. And I'm gonna have, I don't know how many more, you probably will have to send me away. So, because this is really, really good. And I was talking to your colleague who is right over there. I was asking him for the recipe. And he's like, oh, he will give it to me. So, before we get to that, talk to me. We're at the Aim for Climate Summit in D.C. Why are you here? What brought you here?
Wonderful. Well, my name is Amelia Eckes, and I'm with ISS Guggenheimer. We're a corporate food service organization, and we are here at Aim for C in support of Beans is How, a global campaign to double bean, pea, legume, and pulse consumption by 2028. And we're really excited by how many people have jumped on the bandwagon of beans and are interested in trying them, incorporating them into their diets, learning how to grow them, and understanding why beans are so important as an affordable, climate-friendly, and human well-being focused food.
Chef, I have to ask you about this recipe.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So we're happy to be here and participate with this program. So the recipe is very simple. So we combine the hummus, the traditional hummus, with the garbanzo beans, and also with the beans, the red beans hummus. So it's a combination of both on the bottom. And then what we did is a wonton, crisp, and then we did a lentil salad. The lentil salad they have avocado, got peppers, got onion and cilantro, tossed with also lemon vinaigrette. Okay, so the recipe is very simple. He said riquísimo, delicious.
You're gonna come back and grab another one.
So yeah, so it's very tasty. What we're looking is the freshness of the combination of ingredients, but also I'm looking just be the base and the heart on the beans and the legumes and all the combination on one meal.
Why beans?
Why beans? Well, beans are an incredible source of protein. There's a lot of talk around substitutes for animal-based protein, doing plant-based protein, but we've got the solution in beans. They're an incredibly high source of protein. They're great for the soil. They put nutrients back into the soil, and they're affordable. We see huge inflation with food prices right now here in the United States, and so really being able to tap into beans, which are an affordable source of protein, and they're part of almost every culture on planet Earth has an incredible bean recipe. We grew up eating them. They're the food of love, and so we're really excited to focus on beans.
So if we're talking about food being sexy,
Yeah.
this is taking it to an extra level
Absolutely.
of sexiness.
Absolutely.
And it's not only look great, is, as the guy said, and I have said earlier on, it tastes amazing. So, I mean, I see other beans. Earlier this week, we had another chef that was here with a different product. Using beans to make cookies.
Yes.
Talk about that too. I mean, like, this is like if you're going vegetarian,
Yeah.
this is amazing. And as a lot of people are now saying that, plant-based food is a lot more healthy, and he addressed a lot of issues, health issues,
Yep.
diabetic, other non-communicable diseases that, especially black and brown community
Yeah.
are struggling with. Somebody might look at this product, for example, and say, this is very expensive. Talk to me about that too.
Yeah, Chef, do you want to take this one talking
Yeah, of
about
course.
kind of how to make not so expensive ingredients feel really expensive and sexy?
So let me share a few tips about the recipe. The recipe is very simple. You got 4 ingredients. That's all. You got the beans. You got olive oil, lemon juice, a little bit of parsley, salt and pepper. Nothing else. So it's a balance of the combination to give you the flavor. So it's very simple. So it's no high cost. It's a very low cost, but it's tasty. So that's why I find the mix of the combination with the beans recipe on the hummus and the garbanzo beans with a little bit of garlic and then the lentil salad. So the ingredients is very simple, but it's very, very well combined.
Is there a thumbs up? One or two?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes. So that's how they come up with this. It's just very low cost, but very tasty. What I'm looking for is a freshness and the colorful and the taste and the texture, all of that combined together on the beans and the legumes together. That's what it is.
What inspired? Where did you get this inspiration from?
Where's my inspiration from?
Yeah, to come up with this recipe.
I just picture this. I picture this. I love it. And the combination of the flavors, and I want something, nice and crisp. Okay. So I was looking something the texture when you eat it, you say, wow. That was the end of the result. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, so when I talk about the inspiration, talk to us about your background, your country, how this inspire you to be able to experiment.
So I've been a chef for over 30 years. All right, I studied at Le Cordon Bleu in Paris. I did my culinary school there, but also I was very lucky to travel around the world to see different things, to try different recipes, to come up with different recipes, and was very lucky enough to be around the people around the world to taste different food. So that inspired me to be, to come up with different recipes, to be,
more creative, more innovative. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm looking very picky when it comes to flavors. I'm looking for colorful taste, the looking, the combination, all of that in my dish.
Okay. So you are part of the beans now, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to go over here. We see the plant, and if we can talk about the various beans that you have over there.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna, and what we can do with those beans.
Amazing. So we have a little bit of a serve yourself bean station where you can make a little baggie of beans to take home if you like. And we've got a bunch of different dried beans. And I may draw Chelsea in. Come on over. So Chelsea's actually getting her PhD in beans, which is amazing.
You can do that.
Yeah. So we were just chatting a little bit here around the different beans that we have and pulses that we have. Do you want to tell us about maybe pick a favorite bean fact?
Oh, favorite? Oh my gosh, there are so many. What do you want on nutrition?
Sure. Give us a nutrition fact.
Beans are one of the best sources of dietary fiber, and a lot of people get excited about protein, which is great and which is important, but fiber is really underconsumed, and there are so many health benefits to fiber. So if you're looking for a way to increase your fiber content and it's delicious, as you just got to taste over here, this is a great option. They have about 2 to 3 times more fiber than whole grains.
Whoa.
Fun? Was it fun?
That was fun.
Okay,
Yes.
So, let's go over. We have 6 different type of beans
Okay.
here.
Yes.
So talk to us about the different type of beans. So
Can you feel free
Yeah.
to come around?
You want to hear what the types are?
Yeah.
So this is a type of chickpea.
Chickpeas.
Yep, chickpea, also called garbanzo bean.
Oh, garbanzo. Okay.
Yep, depending on where you live, those are the kind of two words. And then this is a type of lentil. So a nice thing about lentils is they cook up super fast. You don't really have to soak them, you can cook them, they're done very quickly. This is a red kidney bean. It's a dark red kidney bean. There are also light red kidney beans, but this is a dark red kidney bean. And then over on this side, these are white kidney beans, and they're also called cannellini beans. Moving along, split peas. These also cook up really quickly, which is nice. And black beans. So this is a good variety here, and they're all delicious. It's too hard to pick a favorite, so you should just eat them all.
Okay, so and they are very easy to. I mean, we can see the plants over here. They are very easy to grow also,
Yeah.
Yes.
and very practical. It's something that you can grow in your house, in your backyard, indoor and outdoor also.
I think mostly outdoor.
Mostly
I would
outdoor.
say
Yeah.
outdoor is better. You know, if you have a nice garden, outside you can try to do that.
Oh.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Or maybe a container garden for us city dwellers.
Of course.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back and try.
We should try,
And
please.
grab another one of these.
Please do.
I'm gonna wash.
In the way, or
No, you are not in the way.
Okay.
If you can just tell us, take a bite and tell us what you think.
this is great. Almost make me want to give up meat.
So we thank you so much for allowing us to talk to you. And now I will be getting the recipe
Great.
and adding it to this information
Wonderful.
and more content information about the chef also.
Thank you so much.
For people that would like to know more about your organization, is Beans is how?
Beans is How is the global campaign.
Is the global campaign. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
allowing me
answering.
to grab as many as I want.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Christine, you are running this campaign. Beans is how. Can you talk about the campaign?
Yes, so I'm the project lead for Beans is How. We are actually mobilized by the SDG2 Advocacy Hub, but we work in coalition with almost 45 partners, I think we're at, and it's growing every single day. We also have a Science and Innovation Advisory Council group, which is a transdisciplinary group of experts that are guiding our theory of change work. We're so excited to be at AIM for C because actually at 2:30 today they're going to be presenting about the early findings of their theory of change so that we can present to a group of peers, respected peers, get input and continue to build that. So we have a roadmap to 2028. So our campaign is aiming to double global bean consumption the next 5 years. Like I said, working in partnership, trying to look at different impact pathways, so working with retail, working with chefs like ISS Guggenheimer, who is here today, working with restaurants, working with schools, working with governments. So really everybody has a role to play in making beans desirable, necessary, visible. Sexy, yes. And why do we care about beans? Because they are affordable and culturally relevant, but yet in many cultures where it's been a staple food, cuisine, it's actually declining. So we want to make sure that it's increasing again, that people are understanding the nutritious value, that they're understanding the value to our planet, and that we're able to then increase consumption so production can follow, and that we can all be happy, healthy, and eat delicious beans.
And in talking with the chef and your colleague, beans are very affordable. And for a lot of people like from disadvantaged communities, especially in the US and in developing countries, beans is a staple food, used to be a staple food. Or rice, there's nothing wrong with rice. And with what you're doing here is bringing a creative way for people to know that, okay, this food that is stable that we've had and is being overlooked, because when you go to the supermarket, rarely do people go into the bean section.
Yeah.
And
If there is one.
if there is one.
Right.
So to have a campaign like this, talk to me about how you are bringing your campaign to these communities so they can know the advantage of the nutritious advantage and the affordable reason why they should be using more beans.
So we are still in the early days of the campaign, but one of the new initiatives that we're going to be launching is called the Bean Menu Challenge, and that is a call to action to chefs to put beans on the menu. So we want to make beans visible. We want them to be desirable. We know that one influential group is chefs. People listen to chefs because food is complicated. You know, there's so much mixed messaging about dieting and nutrition. So chefs are leaders in terms of making things enticing and delicious. We want to start there. We also know that we need to make beans visible in the food choice architecture. So we're working with catering companies so that they can actually integrate beans into meals at schools, at prisons, at hospitals, at offices. So we know that then we're making them more available, and so people are now saying, this is something desirable. There's a trend here that I want to get on board with. Now, this can be totally different in different countries. We know that in rural areas, you know, maybe less people are eating beans because they think of it more as a poor person's food. So we then want to reimagine for them that this is not just something that poor people eat. This is very good for, you know, for women, for children, you know, for pregnant people like me.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good to also promote the nutritious value and to celebrate the affordability as well as the cultural relevance and the, you know, reminding you of your grandmother's favorite recipes.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of women and mother, for example, children, when it comes to vegetables and beans especially, I remember I'm still dealing with traumas from beans when I was young because of the way it was cooked.
Right.
But with something like this that the chef prepared, not only will kids grab it instead of grabbing bagel balls and all other unhealthy food, you know, they will love this.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things happening in the food innovation space. So with ingredients, with sauces, with snacks, beverages, beans are so versatile that they can be consumed in all different ways at all different times of the day. So even just looking at this, a wonderful example. This is just a snack that you can grab and go.
You can grab.
How do we make these things really easy and again delicious? So some people have bad memories of blandly cooked beans. We need to also offer recipes and celebrate that. Please.
Tell us what you think.
What? Have you taken a picture?
Yeah, no, tell us what you think.
It's delicious. I already tried one. This is my second one, but it's spectacular. I love it. Yeah.
And you? See, you are also an exhibitor, another exhibitor, and you are walking from your side of the IBM to just grab one of these, right?
I might grab a second.
And a second, and probably get a recipe and prepare it. If you're having a party, is this something that you would love to have as a finger food at your party?
Yeah.
Absolutely. See, there you have it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is important what you're doing regarding innovation, creative of making beans. I never would have thought about beans being sexy. So there's a lot here that is making food that we have often overlooked more sexy.
Yes.
So what inspired you to get into this space?
Well, I was enticed by the positive messaging of this campaign. You know, often people are told what they shouldn't eat, but this campaign leans into what people should eat. And then the intersection of solving different problems like health, climate, as well as affordability, that's the kind of solutions that we need to be looking for. You know, not just single messaging solutions, the intersection about how we can solve multiple problems at the same time. So that was very exciting to me. Then also the chance to work in coalition with so many people. You know, we could never do this alone. We're actually a very small campaign, but because of the unique markets that each person works in, the unique value, the unique area that people specialize in, we're able to really reach a lot more people and to also be more innovative about how we're reaching people and being creative around that.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Please visit beansishow.org and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for talking to us today. Today is the third day of the Aim for Climate Summit. You've put together an amazing summit, very, very engaging. You know, I want you to talk to us about what was your goal of putting together this summit, of hosting this summit with the USDA?
Thank you. This has been a great summit so far, and we wanted to do this in partnership with USDA to bring together all the different communities, all the different people that need to really build the solutions to get us to where we need to be on climate change. We know that agriculture has the potential to be a solution in climate change. We know that farmers need tools to adapt to climate change. And this conference was designed to bring everyone together to get us on the same page and to get our ideas going.
So, you know, like there's so many announcements that were made regarding innovations. Can you talk about those also? And talk to us about your organization, Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research.
Sure, I'll start there. So the Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research, or FAR, was designed to build public-private partnerships to fund bold food and agriculture research. And so we work with our partners in the private sector, foundations, universities, with farmer groups to pull together and to support the research that we need to build a better food and agriculture system. And so here at the summit, we heard about so many announcements of those kinds of partnerships. And in fact, FAR announced some, and Secretary Vilsack announced one on the first day, the Efficient Fertilizer Consortium that FAR is pulling together to evaluate and develop better fertilizers, more efficient fertilizers that farmers can use around the world. We heard about partnerships to reduce methane emissions from cows. We heard about partnerships to build better crop varieties that are suited to a changing climate. And this is exactly what we wanted to see. All these partners coming together. As I said, FAR builds public-private partnerships, so it was really important to us that the public sector is here, all these ministers from across the world, and the private sector is here. The companies that are making the foods that people eat, or the companies that are developing the seeds that farmers grow.
A major topic here that I was really surprised to hear is the focus on Africa. And I'm sure that your organization is doing work in various areas of Africa regarding addressing food insecurity. Can you talk about that also?
Absolutely. The way I see it is that we are sharing the same challenges. Farmers in Iowa, farmers in Uganda are facing increased temperatures, more droughts, flooding, and science has the ability to deliver solutions that will work for these different farmers. Their growing environments are not the same. They don't have the same cows in their fields. But if we can unlock those discoveries that will, for example, help reduce enteric methane emission in cattle, that's a technology that can be adopted around the world and reduce greenhouse gas emissions around the world. If we can unlock what is it that would make maize or sorghum or millet even more drought tolerant, that's something that farmers can grow in the United States and that they can grow across the Sahel region of Africa, for example. So to me, it's so critical that we're working together and that we are jointly investing in the science that is going to make us all more able to respond to climate change.
Research, I'm pretty sure as a scientist, there are challenges. Talk about those challenges and what you're doing to overcome those, to address those.
Yes. So you need the funding to invest in research. That's the primary challenge, and I believe strongly that that funding has to come both from the private sector and the public sector, and even better when you bring those funding streams together. You need to have the scientists to do the work, right? So FAR invests in the next generation of scientists in developing the workforce that we need to do that science. The scientists need to be given the space to do the research. And then the critical part is the science and the discoveries and the new technologies that are coming out of the scientists' labs and out of their fields needs to reach the farmers. And that's where FAR plays a critical role, because by building those partnerships with the private sector at the table, with the farmers at the table, and with the researchers at the table, we can ensure that we're doing the right research that the farmers need. And we have some of the players at the table who will be getting those seeds out to farmers, who will be buying that food and putting it into their products that they're selling to consumers. That's the private sector. And to me, that's often the missing piece between the research and the delivery.
Let's talk about education and youth, which is another topic that we'll discuss during here, because when we are investing in research, we are investing for the next generation. As we talk about climate, it's not just addressing the issue in this generation, it's addressing the next generation. So talk to me about how you are engaging youth and taking their innovation and creativity with what you're doing.
You make such a great point that we are doing this work not for ourselves today, although we are seeing the impact of climate change today, but for the next generation. I have 2 young children. They know that this is a problem. They give me a hard time on the days that we sometimes need to drive. We try to walk to school. That's important to them. So the investment that we need to make is to ensure that all of our children, our grandchildren, have a world that they want to live in. And so the way we do that is by ensuring that we're building those systems for tomorrow. We're building the capacity of farmers, of the scientific system, of the workforce, that we're doing the work today to ensure that we all can set our eyes on the same goal, to ensure that we are reducing emissions, that we have set targets that are ambitious, and that we're figuring out how to get there. And the youth are going to play such an important role. They already are. I think it's the young people that are telling us, like, you got to get on this, folks. Like, you have to solve these problems. And we can't wait until they're grown-ups. We have to do it now.
I'm going to ask you quickly, as a woman leading this organization, there are many women that were at this event that are also speaker. What does it mean to hold this position and be able to leverage it to address issues? As we know, women, in most cases in the rural area, and majority of these smallholder farmers are women. And even in big corporations, women are often left out. So to use this platform and address issues that are of concern, food security, good nutrients for our kids, even though when we tell them to eat the right food, they don't, as we did when they were. So talk about that, please.
You know, you're right. It's an incredible privilege to be a woman in my role, and to be able to be a leader on a national stage and to talk about things that matter to everyone, but really that matter to women, that matter to children. I mean, food is at the heart of our home and our family. And we need that. We need those nutritious foods to grow our families. I am fortunate to be surrounded by a fantastic team at FAR. The majority of FAR staff are women. I feel so supported at work. And it's my responsibility to ensure that the women around me are supported at work, that we have the right policies in our workplace that allow women to succeed, that allow anybody to succeed if they have a family. I think we often ask our women to do all the work of raising children, and we often forget that men would like to be doing this work too, and we don't give them the space to do it. And so having those policies that make it possible for people to engage in the workplace, to take care of their families, to bring up other women and other young people with them. I was fortunate to have a good part of my career in the US government, which I think actually really does a good job of ensuring that women and other underrepresented groups do get into positions of power. And I was given my first leadership role as a government employee. And from there, I was able to leave, and now I'm in the nonprofit sector. And it's my job to ensure that I'm doing that, and I'm looking at the young people around me and ensuring they have the opportunities to join and to take on leadership roles.
Speaking of government, you are hosting this summit with the USDA. How did that partnership came about?
Well, the FAR, the Foundation for Food and Ag Research, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture have a long-standing collaboration. We collaborate around our research priorities. We were designed to complement USDA's research agenda. So USDA has vast research investments across the country and in so many areas, and it was seen that there was a need for another entity to work alongside USDA to complement what they do, but to work through public-private partnerships. So that's how we got started, and we have worked with them since we were founded in 2014. And they invited us to be a part of the planning of this summit, knowing that we wanted to bring that private sector in, we wanted to bring the public sector, and we wanted to make sure that research and science were so well represented. And so we were asked to support this with them, and the answer was obviously going to be yes. It was such a wonderful opportunity to partner with them and to bring all these people together here.
We are moving towards the COP conference in November. Between now and November, what do you aim to achieve? And looking back on this 3-day summit, do you believe that you've achieved the goal that you set out to achieve at the summit?
I think the summit has been incredibly successful, and I am so pleased to hear the people here at the summit saying the same thing. Really, we came together with a shared goal of advancing our dialogue and building partnerships around the change that we need in our agriculture system to position agriculture as a solution to climate change. We had the right people in the room. We had the government ministers, we have the scientists, we have the companies. And so by bringing them all together and by forming all these new innovation sprints, these ways that we're committing to work towards a better agriculture and food system, we have started ourselves on the pathway. And what we need to do between now and COP is to really to sort of finalize those commitments, really understand that we have a shared understanding of what we need to do to get there, and commit to each other that we will do that, so that by COP it's clear what the pathway forward is and we can all sign on to it.
What is your message, my last question, to the public and to the private sector?
I think we need to continue to demand a more sustainable food system. We need to continue to show through our purchasing power, through what we're buying, through where we're going, through who we're talking to, that we want food that is grown sustainably in a way that farmers can still have a good living, that they can profit. We want, from the private sector, we want their commitment to be contributing to and supporting a sustainable supply chain. And to farmers, we invite you to partner with us and to try out the solutions. And we're committed to ensuring that the solutions we're bringing to the table are going to work for farmers and are going to deliver the sustainable food system that consumers are asking for.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to working more with you and seeing you at the COP conference in November.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You have the Food Nation, Solution of Tomorrow by Denmark. And as you remember, Beans is how various, bringing protein, addressing affordability and innovative and creative solution to address food insecurity as well as nutrients, making beans sexy. So over here we have another exhibitor, National Herbs Association, and just as I just spoke with AgriPoint. So, this summit overall has been amazing. Can you talk to us about what you're doing, what your organization is doing, addressing food security and climate?
Absolutely. So I'm here today showcasing our interactive foodscapes tool. So in 2021, scientists at the Nature Conservancy in partnership with Systemic and IASA launched our foodscapes report. So I don't know if you can see on camera the QR code at nature.org/foodscapes. You can get a glimpse of that report. But essentially what we did is we mapped all of the food growing regions of the world. And in that, if you think of the word landscape, a landscape gives you an overview of the terrain, the climate, it gives you a good description of the area. Well, a foodscape is a landscape plus the actual food production practices that are happening on top of that landscape, hence the word foodscape, right? So this map here actually shows you all the different color coding represents the different types of foodscape classes. So if we zoom in to, let's see, we're in the US right now. we zoom into the U.S., you can see there's all different types of foodscape classes. So we'll look at the central U.S. because we're about to launch a foodscape project here in the central U.S. And it says it's part of the mollisols foodscape class, which is defined really by the dominant soil type found in the region. And it says this is a mollisols in plains with intensive rain-fed cereal and oil crop production that is single cropped. So gives you a good overview of the both the land.
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go drop my fertilizer off.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
That's awesome.
We're gonna jump right back. As you know, when you're doing live interview, things do happen. So we had to change our batteries. So talk to us about this technology, innovative technology that we're looking at.
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is a map of the different types of food growing regions across the world. So if I just kind of click on different colors here, it'll give you a snapshot of both the biophysical attributes of an area, so the terrain, the climate, everything that you would find in a description of a landscape. But also the reason we call it a foodscape is it layers on the food production, what's happening in terms of food production on the land as well. So, so right now I've got this brown area selected. I don't even see what country we're in right now. Oh, we're in the U.S. Okay. So yeah, I've got this brown area selected, and so that's the mollisols in plains with intensive rain-fed large field with cereal and oil crop production. So again, it just gives you that snapshot of the different types of food production happening.
Can we see Africa?
Absolutely.
I know you guys, you do a lot of work in Africa.
We do a lot of work, and actually one of our foodscape projects is in Kenya. Whoops. Oh my goodness.
See, now is your turn.
Now it's very hard to do upside down. So let's see. There's Kenya. So you can see.
Will it be a lot easier for you if you walk around?
It's okay. I can stand here. So yeah, Kenya has. Oh my goodness. It's also the end of the conference. Everything is done. That's myself included. Yeah, we've got. You can see there's different types of foodscape classes. It looks like a pretty diverse area. So lots of different soil types. Lots of different soil types, different classes. So it's alpha sols is the main soil type there, with rain-fed, diverse crop production with some livestock grazing. So you can kind of play around and get a sense by clicking on the different layers, get a sense of the different types of foodscape classes in the area.
Okay. You also right here have the
virtual reality
VR technology.
Yeah.
So can you explain to us how that works?
Yeah, so this is actually just a separate thing. It's actually not related to the foodscape tool.
Okay.
I have another colleague here who helped create the virtual reality experience. And it's really intended to just provide the conference goers a nature break.
Okay.
You know, we're inside these conferences and often don't get outside much while we're here at our meetings. So we thought it would be a really great way for folks to kind of immerse themselves in nature and get to learn a little bit more about our Emerald Edge project.
Okay. So as you said, this is the end of the summit,
yes.
3-day summit,
yes.
And everyone is kind of like, okay, let's wrap up,
yes.
And kind of tiring. But you know, like Africa, there's a lot of issues relating to climate, and you talk about what your organization initially started doing regarding land. So what do you want our viewers to take away regarding the work that you're doing?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I would say I feel like there's, when we hear about the climate crisis and everything that's associated with it, there's a lot of reasons to feel overwhelmed, to feel not hopeful, to feel like it's too much. But what I've heard at the conference, the summit over and over, is we have these solutions. We have solutions to improve how our food is produced that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, use less water, protect our waters, and produce more food on less land. So I think if there's one key takeaway, it's to stay hopeful that the solutions exist, and it's up to all of us to help scale them and implement them across the board.
Okay, thank you. I think this is a great wrap-up of the summit and our lineup of interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.